Good Erev Shabbat. I hope that you're doing well, and I look forward to getting together again soon. This week's pre-Shabbat message is sponsored by Bracha and Rabbi Avram Shefris in loving memory of Bracha's mother, Leah Herskovitz, Leah Batya Batfara Zechron Levracha. May our learning together be a zchut, be a merit for her neshama. Wow, we're living through a historic moment for our country. We're all watching and waiting on the edge of our seats for the results of the presidential election, refreshing the screens, seeing the new tallies. Whatever the result, may Hashem grant wisdom and strength to our next president and bless our country going forward with peace, unity, prosperity, and good health, with continued protections and freedoms for our community. In this divided country, with much at stake, with all the uncertainty, concern, and unease that we may feel, what guidance can we draw from Jewish tradition? I received a note from one of our members that there's only one true president, which is God above, who runs the show. And he's right. I received another halachic note that any state that didn't complete their count in the last couple of days should continue counting, but without a bracha, like Sfira Omer. But joking aside, at this significant moment, what could we learn from our tradition, from our parsha? And in our parsha, Hashem decides to punish the cities of Sodom and Amorah for their irredeemable corruption. The Torah relates in unusual fashion, Hashem talking to himself. Vashem Amar, HaMechaseh ani me'Avram, Asher ani oseh. Hashem says to himself, will I conceal from Avram what I'm planning to do to Sodom? After all, Avram's going to become a great nation, and the nations of the world will be blessed through him. And I know that he will teach his children to do tzedakah and mishpat, to do charity and promote justice. Tzedakah and mishpat being the hallmarks of the Jewish people. But why does Hashem feel compelled to tell Avram about Sodom? And the commentaries grapple with this question, but I would like to suggest an idea inspired by this week's elections. This week, with all the craziness and uncertainty, we should emphasize the blessing that, as this election shows, in a democracy, the power still lies with the people. We have the great privilege to live in a country in which we, the citizens, have the democratic right to elect our leaders, and we see how every single vote, every single person counts. As a result of this blessing, each of us has a tremendous opportunity and responsibility. We should feel a responsibility to voice our opinion, to make a difference by getting involved, not only in voting, but in all causes that are dear to us. We're not just here going along for the ride. We emulate Avraham, who was an Eved Hashem, a servant of Hashem, but who also understood that he had a major role to play in world wars, in caring for strangers, and praying for Sodom. So why does Hashem feel a need to tell Avram about Sodom? And I think the fact that Hashem thinks that he must share his plans for Sodom with Avram indicates that Hashem sees us as responsible for our world. Avram accepts the invitation to engage, and he negotiates with Hashem. If there are 50 righteous, 45, 40, 30, 20, 10, won't you save the city on behalf of the righteous? Avram doesn't just say, oh, you're the omnipotent God, I'm sure you'll figure it out, and you'll figure out the right thing to do. Avram recognizes that he has a role to play, and so too we need to recognize that we have an important role to play in the world. And whether it's shaping and strengthening the alliance between the US and Israel, as Wayne Kletowski and Talia Rezin spoke about beautifully last evening, or whether it's giving of ourselves to do chesed for other people in need during these difficult times and always, or whether it's working to bring our community and society together through tolerance, acceptance, respect in our pursuit of common goals. Though Avram's efforts don't make a difference in saving Sodom, which could be deflating, he wakes up the next morning and he keeps moving forward, and he understands that he still has what to do and what to accomplish. And we never know when or how our efforts will make a difference. Sometimes they have a quick result, like in the war of the 4 kings against the 5 kings, in which Avram turned the tide, saved the day, saved Lot. And sometimes they don't have immediate result, like with Avram's prayers, that don't end up saving the people of Sodom. But no matter what, we're obligated to make the effort. And even for those times that appear to be a loss or we're unsuccessful, our efforts and our tefillot, our actions, are never in vain. Lubavitcher Rebbe, in a letter to the Senator Rudy Boschwitz of Minnesota, so the Rebbe was pushing the idea of non-denominational prayer in public schools. The Rebbe, Lubavitcher Rebbe, considered it essential in reminding the children every school day that there's a seeing eye and a hearing ear to whom we're accountable for our actions and behavior. And the Lubavitcher writes in this letter, he says, as I have often emphasized, especially of late, the duty of a Jew in carrying out his mission in life includes not only service to the Jewish people, but it's also service to the society and world at large through the promotion of the eternal truths of morality and justice. And think about Rabbi Samuel Edelman, rabbi in Denver, who fought for fair housing and civil rights and for special needs children in the 50s when they were often overlooked. He led the first delegation of rabbis to communist Russia in 1956. Another person, another rabbi following this model of Avraham is Rav Aaron Lichtenstein, my Rebbe. Students of Rav Lichtenstein in Yeshiva University before he moved to Israel recall an important lesson that they learned one day. Rabbi Herschel Billet recalls how Rav Lichtenstein often emphasized the responsibility of the Jewish people to defend the highest standards of morality in the world. And we of the post-Holocaust generation must be aware of the consequences of an uncaring world that stood in silence, as 6 million of our people were murdered. And when there's evil, when there's injustice, we can't be quiet, we can't be passive, but we have to stand up to protest and work to stop it. So it was 1968, and there was a civil war raging in Nigeria. The Igbo tribe of Biafra was being systematically decimated. And there was a rally scheduled for the Igbo tribe to stand in solidarity with the Igbo tribe, and the rally was scheduled in front of the UN in New York at 1 p.m. Rav Lichtenstein, his shir was at 1 o'clock, so there was a conflict. But he changed the shir time from 1 p.m. to 10 a.m., and they all took the subway to the rally. 60 people in total attended the rally. 48 of them were yeshiva boys with their Rebbe. And from Avraham to Rav Aaron teaches us this powerful lesson that Hashem may not speak directly to us like he did with Avraham, but Hashem speaks to us through the Torah and through life circumstances which are a call to us. Hashem sees us as responsible for the world. We, you, all of us, have a role to play that we should never underestimate. Shabbat Shalom.